Ever felt trapped by memories of someone who keeps invading your thoughts? Those stubborn memories that follow you everywhere? They live rent-free in your mind, affecting your mood, decisions, and even your future relationships. Our brains weren't designed with a delete button, but what if I told you there's a way to erase those unwanted memories in just 5 minutes a day? This isn't magic or wishful thinking. It's based on real neuroscience. Your brain constantly rewires itself, and you can take control of this process. Today, I'm sharing a powerful technique that helps thousands of people free themselves from painful memories of ex-partners, toxic friends, or difficult family members. This method works because it targets how memories are stored and accessed in your brain. Most people try to forget by forcing themselves not to think about someone, which actually strengthens those memories. The 5-minute technique I'll show you does the opposite. It works with your brain's natural processes, not against them. Stay with me through this video and you'll learn exactly how to implement this technique tonight. You'll understand why it works so effectively and how to customize it for your specific situation. Freedom from those unwanted memories is closer than you think. Memories stick for a reason. They're not random files in your brain that you can simply drag to the trash. When emotions get involved, memories become supercharged and deeply embedded in your neural pathways. This happens because of how our brains evolved. Strong emotions activate the amygdala, our emotional processing center, which signals the hippocampus to store these memories with special importance. It's a survival mechanism that once helped our ancestors remember dangers and rewards. But today it's making you remember that ex who broke your heart years ago. Emotional memories get special treatment in your brain. They receive priority storage, extra neural connections, and frequent reactivation. Think about it. Mundane memories fade quickly, but emotionally charged ones stay crystal clear for years. Certain people become harder to forget because of something called emotional tagging. When someone creates intense feelings, whether love, hate, fear, or joy, those emotions act like superglue for memories. This is why you might forget what you ate last Tuesday, but vividly recall every detail of your first date with someone special. Another factor making memories stick is repetitive thinking. Each time you revisit a memory, you strengthen it, similar to walking the same path through a field of grass. The more you walk it, the more defined the path becomes. Many people unknowingly reinforce unwanted memories by obsessively thinking about them. Social connections also make memories more resistant to fading. Humans evolved as social creatures, and our brains prioritize information about people who were important to us, especially those who made us feel strong emotions. Rejection and betrayal create particularly stubborn memories. When someone hurts you, your brain flags that experience as critically important to avoid similar pain in the future. This protective mechanism, unfortunately, keeps painful people at the forefront of your thoughts. The chemistry behind emotional memories involves stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which enhance memory formation. These chemicals flood your system during emotional encounters, essentially telling your brain, this is important, store it permanently. Memory formation starts with sensory input hitting our brain. Sights, sounds, smells, all these signals travel through our nervous system and arrive at different brain regions. This process happens instantly and continuously throughout our day. When these signals reach our brain, they first pass through short-term memory, a temporary holding area with limited capacity. Most information stays here briefly before disappearing forever. But some memories move on to become long-term memories, through a process called consolidation. Consolidation transforms fleeting experiences into stable memories. It involves physical changes in our brain, neurons form new connections, proteins get synthesized, and neural pathways strengthen. This happens primarily during sleep, which explains why pulling an all-nighter before an exam actually hurts your ability to retain information. Brain regions work together during memory formation. Hippocampus acts like a memory coordinator, binding different aspects of an experience together. Prefrontal cortex helps organize memories logically. Amygdala tags emotional significance to experiences. Emotional memories receive special treatment in this process. When something highly emotional happens, stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood our system. These chemicals essentially tell our brain, pay attention, this matters. In response, memory formation mechanisms kick into overdrive. Studies show emotional memories get encoded more deeply than neutral ones. They receive stronger neural connections, more extensive processing, and preferential storage. This happens because emotions activate multiple brain regions simultaneously, creating richer, more detailed memory traces. Fear-based memories are particularly resilient. If someone scared or hurt you, that memory gets rapid processing through a neural shortcut directly to the amygdala. This evolutionary adaptation helped our ancestors avoid dangers, but today it means painful relationships leave lasting imprints. Memory reconsolidation explains why we can't just delete memories instantly. Each time we recall a memory, it becomes temporarily unstable and malleable before being stored again. Setting up properly for this memory technique dramatically impacts results. Find a quiet space where interruptions won't occur for at least 15 minutes. Silence phones, close doors, and eliminate distractions. This technique requires focused attention, and even minor interruptions can reset progress. Physical comfort matters too. Sit in a position that feels natural but keeps you alert. Lying down might make you drowsy, while an uncomfortable chair could distract with physical discomfort. Many find that sitting cross-legged or in a supportive chair works best. Lighting should be dim but not dark. Harsh brightness can create tension, while complete darkness might induce sleep. Soft, warm lighting helps create a brain state conducive to memory work. Natural light, filtered through curtains, often creates an ideal atmosphere. Sound plays a crucial role in brain state. Complete silence works for some people, while others benefit from white noise or gentle instrumental music without lyrics. Nature's sounds like rainfall or ocean waves can help regulate brain waves into an optimal state for this technique. Timing matters significantly. Early morning or late evening typically works best when brain chemistry naturally shifts toward more malleable states. Avoid attempting this technique immediately after consuming caffeine, alcohol, or heavy meals, as these substances affect brain chemistry. Mental preparation begins with clearing thoughts through 3 minutes of deep breathing. Inhale slowly through nose, hold briefly, then exhale fully through mouth. This activates parasympathetic nervous system, calming stress responses that might interfere with memory work. Approach this process without judgment or anger. Strong negative emotions during practice actually strengthen unwanted memories rather than weakening them. Cultivate neutral curiosity. View memories as objects to examine rather than experiences to relive. Set clear intentions before starting. Specifically identify which aspects of memories you aim to disconnect from. Being precise helps focus mental energy effectively. Instead of thinking broadly about forgetting someone entirely, target specific emotional responses or recurring thought patterns associated with them. Release expectations about immediate results. Brain rewiring happens gradually through consistent practice. Going in with reasonable expectations prevents frustration that might derail progress. Memory modification works similarly to physical exercise. Consistent small efforts produce significant change over time. Begin by closing eyes and taking 3 deep breaths. Allow mental images to form naturally without forcing them. Bring forward an image of this person who occupies too much mental space. Notice how they appear in mind, their face, expressions, body language, and surroundings. Start with brief exposure. 5 seconds of visualization is enough initially. This prevents emotional flooding while still accessing the memory. With practice, exposure time can gradually increase without strengthening emotional attachments. Observe details objectively. Notice hair color, clothing, facial features, but view these elements as you would observe a stranger in a photograph. Creating emotional distance begins with this observer perspective. Avoid slipping into first-person viewpoint where memories feel lived rather than observed. Next, modify this mental image using specific visualization techniques. First, gradually drain color from the image until it appears completely black and white. Color intensifies emotional responses, while grayscale images trigger fewer emotional reactions in the brain. After removing color, mentally adjust size. Shrink the image of this person until they appear tiny, diminishing their perceived importance and emotional impact. Many find success reducing the image to the size of a postage stamp within their mind's eye. Add distance by visualizing this miniature grayscale image moving steadily away from you. Watch it recede into the distance until it becomes a barely visible speck. This technique leverages how brains process psychological distance. Apply mental filters that change appearance in subtle ways. Slightly blur facial features, change hair color, or alter distinctive characteristics. These modifications create cognitive separation between actual memories and visualized images, weakening emotional connections. Frame the image as if viewing it through glass, creating a barrier between you and the memory. This symbolic separation helps reinforce emotional boundaries with this person. For particularly intrusive memories, practice visualization with sensory reduction. Remove sounds associated with this person, eliminate any remembered sense, and cancel physical sensations like touches or embraces. Memory power diminishes significantly when stripped of these sensory components. Finally, practice mentally replacing this person's image with a neutral object like a gray stone or empty chair. This substitution technique trains brains to respond differently when memories surface unexpectedly. Emotions and memories intertwine deeply in neural networks. Separating them requires specific techniques that work directly with how brains process emotional content. Start by acknowledging whatever emotions arise without judgment. Naming emotions activates prefrontal cortex regions that help regulate emotional responses. Box breathing forms the foundation of emotional detachment. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, hold empty lungs for 4 counts. Repeat this cycle 5 times whenever working with emotionally charged memories. This breathing pattern disrupts stress responses and creates physiological calm necessary for emotional processing. Body scanning helps identify where emotions physically manifest. Notice tension, heaviness, or discomfort in specific body areas when thinking of this person. Common areas include chest tightness, stomach knots, or throat constriction. Consciously relax these areas while continuing regulated breathing. Apply emotional labeling with distance language. Instead of thinking, I feel hurt, shift to, there is a feeling of hurt present. This subtle language change creates psychological separation between self and emotion. With practice, emotions transition from seeming like essential parts of identity to passing mental events. Practice counter-emotion induction by deliberately calling forth neutral or slightly positive emotions while viewing memories. Curiosity works particularly well as a replacement emotion since it activates analytical brain regions rather than emotional ones. Reduce emotional intensity through volume control visualization. Imagine emotions have volume knobs like radios. Mentally turn down intensity knobs for painful emotions associated with memories. Start by reducing intensity just 20%, then gradually increase reduction with repeated practice. Cognitive reframing transforms emotional connections through perspective shifts. Ask specific questions. What lessons came from this relationship? How did this experience contribute to personal growth? This activates meaning-making brain regions that process emotional content differently. Diaphragmatic breathing specifically targets emotional regulation systems. Place one hand on chest and one on stomach. Breathe deeply, so only stomach hand moves while chest remains still. This activates vagus nerve, which directly calms emotional brain centers. 8 minutes of this breathing pattern significantly reduces emotional reactivity. Mental containment techniques provide structures for processing emotions separately from memories. Visualize placing emotions in containers, boxes, jars, or bubbles. See emotions sealed inside while memories remain accessible but emotionally neutral. Memory replacement works because neural pathways can be redirected with consistent practice. Brains follow paths of least resistance. Frequently activated circuits become dominant while unused ones weaken. This method exploits neuroplasticity to create alternative mental routes. Begin by identifying trigger points, specific memories that consistently activate strong emotional responses. Common examples include first meetings, intimate moments, arguments, or betrayals. These high-intensity memories serve as anchors for entire memory networks. For each identified memory, create a corresponding neutral substitute. Choose something boring and emotionally flat, a gray wall, empty room, or blank piece of paper. Simple objects work better than complex scenes because they require minimal mental resources to maintain. Practice interruption substitution cycles daily. Briefly bring the unwanted memory to mind, then immediately interrupt it by mentally shouting stop while visualizing a red stop sign. This pattern interruption creates a brief neural pause where substitution can occur. Immediately after interruption, insert the neutral image. Hold this substitute image for at least 30 seconds while breathing normally. This duration helps establish new neural connections that will strengthen with repetition. Mental barriers act as protective shields against unwanted memory intrusions. Create these barriers by visualizing impenetrable structures between yourself and memories of this person. Glass walls, brick barriers, or energy fields can represent these boundaries. Make these visualizations detailed and multi-sensory for maximum effectiveness. Memory segmentation helps contain problematic memories to specific contexts. Mentally place memories of this person in designated containers within mind, perhaps visualized as file cabinets or storage boxes that remain closed until deliberately opened. Distance techniques create temporal barriers, mentally push memories into the distant past by visualizing them as ancient history, perhaps shown in sepia tones like old photographs. This temporal distancing weakens emotional connections to present-day feelings. Practice mental space clearing through white light visualization. When unwanted memories surface, imagine brilliant white light filling mental space, dissolving images of this person. This creates a reset effect, clearing mental canvas for more constructive thoughts. Memory dilution works by inserting neutral material between emotional memories. When recalling interactions with this person, deliberately add mundane details like furniture in the room, weather conditions, or meaningless background objects. This dilutes emotional density of the original memory. Consistency matters more than duration with memory modification techniques. 5 minutes daily produces better results than hour-long sessions once weekly. Neural rewiring requires regular reinforcement to establish new pathways while weakening unwanted connections. Morning and evening represent optimal practice times. Morning practice sets intentional mental patterns for the day, reducing spontaneous thoughts about this person. Evening practice prevents unwanted memories from consolidating during sleep, when brain naturally strengthens daily experiences. Start with twice daily sessions for the first week. Each session requires only 5 minutes of focused attention. After 1 week, assess progress and adjust frequency accordingly. Most people transition to once daily practice by week 3 as intrusive thoughts naturally decrease. Track progress through simple metrics. Note how frequently unwanted thoughts appear throughout the day. Many find that keeping a simple tally on phone or small notebook provides motivation as numbers decrease over time. Documenting progress reinforces commitment while providing objective evidence of improvement. Incorporate micro practices during daily activities. When unwanted thoughts appear outside formal practice sessions, apply abbreviated versions of techniques. 3 conscious breaths paired with rapid visualization of mental barriers takes only 20 seconds, but reinforces neural redirection. Environmental cues help establish consistent practice. Select specific triggers that prompt brief memory work throughout day. Door frames serve as excellent reminders. Each time you walk through one, practice 5 seconds of memory substitution. These micro moments compound significantly over time. Mind-body connection strengthens results through physical anchors. Create simple physical gestures that pair with mental techniques. Touching thumb to forefinger while visualizing mental barriers creates somatic reinforcement that deepens neural associations. Gradual exposure helps process particularly difficult memories. Begin working with less emotionally charged memories of this person before addressing more painful ones. This builds confidence and skill with the technique while minimizing emotional overwhelm. Progress happens unevenly. Some days, unwanted thoughts return intensely despite consistent practice. This represents normal neural consolidation cycles rather than failure. During these temporary regressions, simply return to basic techniques without discouragement or increased effort. Schedule monthly reassessment. Notice changes in emotional reactivity, thought frequency, and sleep quality. Subtle improvements often precede conscious awareness of change. Memory transformation occurs gradually beneath conscious awareness before manifesting as noticeable shifts in daily experience. Results from memory modification techniques follow predictable patterns based on neuroscience. Most people notice subtle changes within 7 to 10 Daltons YS of consistent practice. These initial shifts typically manifest as decreased emotional intensity rather than complete memory erasure. Complete emotional detachment typically requires 6 to 8 weeks of daily practice. Neuroplasticity operates differently across age groups. Younger brains tend to respond faster to these techniques, with noticeable results appearing more quickly. Older adults may require additional practice time as neural flexibility naturally decreases with age, but results remain equally achievable with persistence. Memory duration affects time frames significantly. Memories formed recently respond faster to modification techniques than those established over years or decades. Long-term memories involve more extensive neural networks requiring additional time to rewire. Memories connected to identity or self-concept take longest to transform. Setbacks occur predictably during certain situations. Stress, fatigue, and alcohol consumption temporarily weaken prefrontal cortex function, reducing control over unwanted memories. During these vulnerable periods, intrusive thoughts often return briefly before subsiding again with continued practice. Encountering triggers causes temporary regressions. Seeing this person unexpectedly, visiting places associated with them, or exposure to particular songs or scents can reactivate memory networks. These setbacks typically last 24 to 48 hours before practice restores previous progress. Sleep quality directly impacts success rates. Poor sleep interferes with memory consolidation processes that support this technique. Prioritizing consistent sleep schedules accelerates results while minimizing frustrating plateaus in progress. Measuring progress requires appropriate benchmarks. Complete memory erasure represents an unrealistic goal, contradicting how brains function. Instead, success manifests as emotional neutrality when memories surface. Memories remain accessible but lose their emotional charge and intrusive quality. Anniversary reactions occur commonly. Birthdays, relationship milestones, and other significant dates often trigger temporary memory resurgence. Anticipating these predictable setbacks allows for proactive reinforcement of techniques during vulnerable periods. Physical fatigue increases vulnerability to unwanted memories. Brain resources deplete during physical exhaustion, leaving fewer cognitive resources available for memory management. During particularly tired periods, simplify practice to basic breathing techniques paired with minimal visualization. Social support significantly impacts success rates. Discussing progress with trusted friends provides accountability and perspective. Outside validation helps recognize improvements that might otherwise go unnoticed during gradual transformation processes. Taking control of your mind isn't about erasing someone completely. It's about freedom from emotional pain that unwanted memories bring. This 5-minute technique works because it aligns with how your brain naturally processes and stores information. Start with creating the right environment. Visualize with intention. Separate emotions from memories. Replace negative thoughts with neutral alternatives. Practice consistently. Manage your expectations through the process. The brain's remarkable ability to rewire itself is the foundation of this technique. Each time you practice, you're literally creating new neural pathways while weakening old ones. The person who once dominated your thoughts gradually loses their emotional power over you. Freedom comes gradually, not instantly. Some days will feel like no progress at all. while others bring noticeable relief. Trust the process and stay consistent with your practice. The science behind this approach is solid, even when results aren't immediately visible. You deserve mental peace. You deserve to move forward without carrying the weight of someone else's memory. 5 minutes daily is a small investment for such a significant return to your well-being. If this technique has helped you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more science-based methods to improve your mental health and take control of your life.